institution. And we're funded by Business Oregon and the SBA, the Small Business Administration. We offer free confidential business advising. In the area I mostly serve is here in Grant County and in Wheeler County, but the SPDC, ours out of Eastern Oregon, also serves Morrow County and Union County as well. We offer all sorts of service, financial, marketing, business expansion, kind of anything you think of. We try to help you. We have a director. His name's Greg Smith. He holds many economic development contracts here in Eastern Oregon, and he's really big with finances. And he also, operates some revolving loan funds as well. And then my direct superior, her name's Gina Perkins. She works out of LeGrand, but she's willing to help anybody, and she just has a wealth of knowledge, with just lots of just anything. I go to her all the time. Someone comes to me with the problem, and I go like, okay, let me go talk to Gina, and then we'll get it figured out. So I'll put the number for the center, which would go directly to her. I'll put my number in there too, and then our website if you kind of just want to check out and see what kind of services we have to offer. Yeah, and then I guess I'll just turn it back over to Stephanie. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawson. Awesome. So I am really pleased to welcome Sarah Lambert here. She is going to be teaching these courses, as I said, and I am going to just hand it over and let her begin the presentation.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. I'm excited to teach these series. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen here. So today in this session, we're going to talk about how to choose which QuickBooks subscription you want and how to do some basic customization in QuickBooks Online and with your chart of accounts. So I'm going to start off, and I'm going to put, this is a blog from QuickBooks. I'm going to put it into the chat. It gives a good breakdown of the different subscription levels of QuickBooks Online. I really like QuickBooks Online that you can switch your subscription. So when you buy QuickBooks Desktop, like you buy it, that's it. It's a pretty hefty one-time fee. So you don't feel like you can go for a different one because you spent a lot of money on the QuickBooks Desktop. So I like the online version because you can change from month to month if you want. So I'm not sure how many of you already have QuickBooks Online, but you might learn some stuff where you realize you want to have a different level, either a higher level or a lower level, and you can change it at any time. So this blog goes over all the different ones and gives some basic differences. So I'm going to start at the top here with the self-employed. I'm not going to talk much about the self-employed. It is very different than the other ones. It's very limited in what you can do. I honestly haven't even looked at it in probably like a year or so because I don't really recommend it. It's hard to get any reports out of. It does just really basic tracking. The simple start is just the very basic QuickBooks Online. You do get some basic reports. You can't really customize them much, but you can track all your income. You can track your expenses. You can have it calculate sales tax, which most of us in Oregon don't need to worry about, but if you're in Washington, you do. It will do the receipt capture that we'll talk about in one of the sessions, and you can invite your accountant to it so that they can look at your books whenever they want to. We're going to move up to the essentials. The essentials is the most common one. This is what the majority of my clients use. It has a little bit higher level of reports. You can customize them a little bit more. You can get more information out of them. You can do some more with the bills. You can actually enter your bills and pay bills. Those are kind of the main differences between the essentials and the simple start. I think the essentials is worth it just for the reports, just to have some higher level reports. And then there is the plus version. The biggest difference between the essentials and the plus is the plus you can track classes or locations. So if your business has more than one location, you can track different locations, or if your business does different types of business. So if you're like a coffee roaster and you do wholesale, but you also do retail, you can track those different parts of your businesses. So I have a lot of clients that use that. You can also use this to track inventory. So if you want to track inventory on here, you do have to have the plus version. And then same kind of reports between the plus and the essentials, but you can do some budgeting in the plus. The sample company I have that I'm going to use for all of these sessions has the plus version on it. So I'll try to talk about things when we're going through them if they're only available on the plus. And then the highest level is the advanced. I don't work with this one that much. It's for larger companies. It has a 25 user limit when the plus only has 5 users. So it's for companies that need to have a lot of people in their QuickBooks. There's a lot more analysis, financial analysis and reporting. Again, I don't have a whole lot of people that work on this advanced. So most of what we're going to talk about is the plus version. So I am going to switch over to my sample company here. So once you pick your subscription and you sign up for it and you log in, this is your main screen. My screen may look a little bit different than the one that you have because mine is technically the accountant's version. So some of where things are might be slightly different, but I'm not going to show you anything that you can't do. So this is what you log into. This is the dashboard. If you ever want to get to this, you just click on the dashboard on the side, and this is what shows up. Once you start entering information into it, you'll see things on here like it'll give you an overview of your profit and loss. It'll give you like income, just income for the last 30 days, just expenses for the last 30 days. It'll give you a little bit more information, but it kind of just gives you a basic overview. So from here, we're going to talk about some of the basic customization you can do. And up at the top, there's this little gear icon. And if you click on that, that's where you do all of your customization from here. So you can add users, you can change information about your company, you can change your profile, that kind of stuff. So we're going to start at the top here and go to account and settings. So this first spot here is where you can enter all of your company info. So if you want to enter or add your logo in here, so if you invoice from QuickBooks, you probably want to add your logo on here. All you have to do is click this little pencil icon and click the plus, and then you can either drag and drop or you can click the plus to add a logo. You can change your company name. You can have your EIN number in here. If you're going to do 1099s through here, you have to have your EIN. I think that's kind of the only reason why you have to have it on here. And then, oops, wrong button, sorry. And then going down, you can add what type of industry you are, what tax form you use, contact information. So you can add your company email and then a customer facing email. So the customer facing email is what's going to show up on your invoices, either emailed invoices or paper invoices, your phone number, your website. So basically just all of your company information. And like I said, to change any of them, all you do is you click the little pencil, do whatever changes you want, click save, and that's it. The next button down here says usage. So the different levels have different numbers of users you can have, different numbers of accounts on your chart of accounts, and those kind of things. So this tells you if you're getting close to your limit, so you know if you need to upgrade to the next one. So if you have 5 billable users, you might need to look at the highest level to add more users. If you're getting close to your limit of 250 chart of accounts, you might need to upgrade. I have seen very few people get to that limit here. And you can have 40 different classes, different locations. So this just tells you if you're needing to upgrade. The next 4 ones we're going to go over in future classes. So the sales we'll do when we talk about like accounts receivable, expenses, we'll talk about accounts payable, stuff like that. But I just wanted to go over the basic couple. So when you're all done, all you do is down the bottom right, just click done. And then I'm going to go back here. And if you want to add users, you just go to the second one here to manage users. So there's two different kinds of users. You can just have a standard user, or you can have an accountant user. The accountants they aren't included in your 5 users. So you can have 2 different accountants on here. To add a user, all you do is click add user. You can either have them just be standard so that they can't make any major changes, like to your name, to your bank account, that kind of stuff. Or you can have them be an admin if you want to give them all access. Or you can just do a reports only. The time tracking only, we will talk about when we get to payroll, if you use QuickBooks for payroll. So you pick which one you want, you click next, and it's just going to walk you through so you can customize what access the people have. So if you want to have someone who is just doing your accounts receivable, you can give them only access to your customers and only, limited access. So you can pick and choose what kind of access they have. And then you just click next. It'll ask you for the email and some more questions. And then once you're done, it will send an invite to them. And then once you send an invite, it will show up on here and it will say whether they've been invited or whether they are active. So the status here that shows actives means that I have logged in and I have created my account on here. So that's how you add users on here. And then I want to talk about customizing your chart of accounts. So you kind of have 2 menus. You have this one up here, and this is used mostly for customization, searching. And then the main menu you use is down here on the left-hand side. And we're going to go down to the accounting. And that's where you're going to find your chart of accounts. So again, you have the menu on the left-hand side, and then you also have another menu up at the top. So a lot of different menus, but you can also, if you hover over the accounting, you can just go to chart of accounts from there too. So this is your chart of accounts that is going to show you all of your accounts. So you can scroll down and see everything. So the way that it sorts it is starting with assets at the top, and then it goes down to liabilities and then equity. So all of your balance sheet accounts are going to be up at the top. Below that is going to show your income, cost of goods sold, and your expenses. So your profit and loss accounts are at the bottom. If you want to sort it differently, all you have to do is click the title at the top and it will sort it by name. If you want to sort it by type, again, you just click on that. If you want to sort by balance, you can click on any of them and it will sort it by that title. And that works in most anything in QuickBooks Online. If you want to sort things, you just click the title. I like to have it sorted by type, so I'm going to go back to that. We'll talk about this more in the next session with the Banking Center, but you can connect your bank account to QuickBooks, and this little arrow thing means that it is connected to your bank. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit more in the next session. So there's 2 different kinds of accounts. We have your balance sheets accounts, and you can see all of these on the right-hand side. They have a view register. So if you click on that, it's going to show a register just like a paper check register that people used to have. And it will say, the amount, who it was to, the payment amount, and it shows you every single transaction in that account. So it will do that with any of your balance sheet accounts, so any of your assets, your liabilities, or your equities. Then you can see down here for your income and expense accounts, instead of saying view register, it says run a report. So I can run a report for any income account. I don't have any information in this one, but it would show a report that shows all the transactions in that. You can change the time period if you want up here. You can do all dates. And we'll get a little bit more into customizing reports in another session also. So if you want to add or change any of the accounts on here, we'll start with adding. All you do is click this new button up here. You click what kind of account it is. So if it's a bank account, if it's a fixed asset like furniture, building, vehicles, other assets like inventory, accounts payable, credit card, liabilities like short-term loans, long-term loans, equity, income. The rest are kind of self-explanatory: income, cost of goods sold, or expense. So we're going to say that we want to add another bank account. You can pick which type it is. And so I'm going to say that I want, have a money market account. And you can see the little red stars mean that you have to fill those in. Your name is what's going to show up on your reports and show up on the chart of accounts. It's whatever you want to name it. So if you have more than one money market account, you might want to say money market, like US Bank money market or something like that. If you just have one, you can just keep the name if you want to. It's up to you. The description doesn't show up on any of your reports or anything. It's just for your information if you want to add a little bit more. Again, if you have more than one money market and you want to add where this money market account is, you can do that. And then just save and close. And then we can see here, now we have a money market under here, and that's how you add just a basic new account. Let's say down here that we want to add a sub account to one of our income accounts. You start with the same way. You just click new. We're going to go to income. We're going to say it's sales of product. Let's say it's an ice cream place, so we want to break out just our ice cream sales. If you want to make it a sub account, you just click the little box, pick which parent account. So you can click the arrow and scroll, or if you know what it is, you can just start typing and it will pull it up, and click which sub account you want or which parent account you want it to be, and save and close. And now you can see here we have our main account and then the sub account, which is kind of indented a little bit here. And you can make sub accounts for any of these things that you want to. And I believe you can go 3 layers deep with the sub accounts. And the other thing you can do is you can change account if you want. So if we go down to these income, we can see all of these have just kind of random names on them. So let's say we want to change the name. You just go over and click the arrow and click edit, and then you can change the name. Let's say we want to change it to soda sales. We're going to go ahead and make it a sub account of that same sale of product income. So it brings you back to the same screen that you used when you created a new one. You're just now editing whatever you need to. Save and close it. And now we can see that we changed it there. The other thing you can do is you can delete them or make them inactive. I always tell people to be very careful to delete them. Before you delete them, make sure that you're not actually using them. So let's say this billable expense income account, go to run a report, change the days to all dates, run a report, and make sure there's no transactions in it. If it's an account that you used in a previous year, and so you have transactions from the previous year, then you could go ahead and make it inactive. But if you have any transactions from this year, you need to keep it active until there's no transactions in it. So we looked at this one, we see that it is inactive, or we don't have any transactions in it, so we want to make it inactive. All you do is click that little arrow and click make inactive. Yes, I want to make it inactive. And now we can go down and see that it's gone. If you accidentally make one inactive and you want to bring it back, all you need to do is go up to this little gear, check the box that says include inactive, and then scroll down to find it and click the little button that says make active. So even if you like delete it, it's not gone for good. It's just inactive and you can always bring it back. You can also change the type. So if you make a new account, let's say I made a new account and I want it to be, I'm gonna do gift sales, and I saved and closed. So go up here and realize I created as a bank, and that's not what I wanted to do. I forgot to change it to an income account. Again, all you have to do is edit, change the account type, and save and close. It'll give you a little warning and saying that you're changing the type of it, and it will show up on different reports now. make sure you want to do this. Click yes. And now it is down under our income accounts. You can print from here if you want to print a list of your chart of accounts. And then this little pencil is to edit. You can bulk edit. So if you want to change the names of all of these all at once, all you have to do is start typing whatever you want it to be, make all your changes, and then click save at the top. When you first sign up for QuickBooks, it will ask you some questions about what kind of industry you are or your business is and what you want to use QuickBooks for. And it's so that it will create your chart of accounts for you. So when you first sign up for QuickBooks, you might have a lot of accounts on here that you don't like the names or you want to get rid of. So that's kind of what that bulk edit is for. So you can go through and customize it, everything all at once. So that is the main customizing on that. And I'm going to go back to the dashboard here. So that's kind of the basics of picking which QuickBooks you want, customizing your name, accounts, that kind of stuff, and your chart of accounts. The next session will go into banking, and then there's another session on accounts receivable or invoicing, accounts payable or expenses, and then kind of a miscellaneous payroll, connecting to other apps like Squares, that kind of stuff. So this one was just kind of a basic like intro to QuickBooks. So if you have questions about the basics of QuickBooks, we could answer those. I see in the chat, there's a, what if you actually buy the QuickBooks program instead of setting up through the online program? If you recently bought it and have not really used it much, I have heard that QuickBooks will give you a refund, but that is kind of up to QuickBooks. So you can contact them and tell them, you want to be online and you bought the wrong one, and hopefully they can give you a refund for that desktop version and get you to the online. If you have an older version of the desktop and you want to move to QuickBooks Online, it's super easy to do, and it's something that I'd happily help. I can actually send instructions to Stephanie and she can pass them along. They make it really easy. QuickBooks is kind of going towards QuickBooks Online. They want everyone to be online, so they're making that process really easy. Where can I find the pricing? So if you go to the QuickBooks Online website, I think it might even be from that blog, their pricing changes a lot because they give deals all the time. So they have your basic pricing, but then they'll have like 50% off for 6 months or pay for a year and save money. So I'm not going to tell you the pricing because it changes every month. But if you go to their main, just quickbooks.com, they'll tell you the pricing for the different subscription levels. Let's see, with what you covered today, would you make any different recommendations or different setup choices if you're using QuickBooks Online for a nonprofit? So they don't, I know the QuickBooks desktop version has one specifically for nonprofits. The QuickBooks Online does not, but the few nonprofits that I have worked with, they use just the essentials because most of, at least the ones I've worked with, are not having to track inventory. Some of them use the Plus version because they want to track different sources of revenue. So they want to use the classes to be able to track if they're getting, corporate revenue or corporate donations, individual donations, grants, that kind of stuff. So they can track it by class. So if you want to be able to do that, then you'd want to go the Plus version so that you can track different classes. But I would say probably the essentials would do everything you need it for. And then I saw for the fees, a one-time fee or yearly dues, it depends how you sign up with them. You can sign up either way. They do a monthly program or an annual program, and sometimes they'll give you discounts. So you kind of just have to see what their pricing is. I haven't looked this month. I'm sure they have deals going on. If you just go to the quickbooks.com, they can kind of tell you all the deals they have going right now.
I have a
Does
question.
the act, oh, go ahead.
Sorry. So I have a question about the users. I just wanted to maybe make a clarification. It talks about the 5 billable users, and then you had your accountants that don't count as a user. So could you
Yeah.
technically have 7 users if you have the 5 plus 2 accountants?
Yes. So if you have the essentials or the plus, you get 5 users. So you, your employees, whoever you need to get in there, and then 2 accountants, which would give you the 7. Yes. And then I see, does the actual purchase QuickBook have a different screen setup? So it's slightly different. It's the same basic thing. You don't get the little thing over here that says month-end review and accountant tools. There will be a couple different things missing basically, and down at the bottom, yours will probably say apps to connect to Square and stuff. So overall, it's the same. There are just a few little like menu items that are different.
And I think
I got all the questions.
yeah, at this point, people can unmute themselves and ask the question if you prefer.
Sure.
Just go ahead and throw them in there. So, Sarah, if you are a startup, let's say, because we work with a lot of startups, and you are not really sure how your business is going to look and what you're going to need, what would be like the key factors that would like kind of guide your decision making in maybe which product to go with and what reports to start and kind of that direction?
Yeah, I tend to recommend starting with the essentials. The simple start, is a good basic start, but you're not going to get some detailed reports that will really help you and help analyze your business a little deeper. The simple start just kind of does the basic profit and loss, balance sheet, cash flow, that kind of stuff, but it won't give you any more detailed reports about accounts receivable, accounts payable, and being able to customize your reports to show different things, being able to look at income from certain sources, that. So being able to customize reports, I think, is really important no matter what kind of business you are or what size of business you are. So I always recommend the essentials. And then once you get into your business and decide whether you want to use QuickBooks to track inventory, whether you think you need like the classes or the locations, you can always upgrade to the plus version. But that's kind of the only difference between the two. And so I always say start at the essentials because most people don't really need the plus stuff. But I don't feel like Simple Start quite has enough in the reporting capabilities to really get a good idea of your business.
Sarah, can you tell us a little bit about the apps, the extensions, like how those work?
Oh yeah. So, and I'll go over in another session how to connect them, but they do a lot of so they call them apps, but you connect with other software that you use. So you can connect with Square, Shopify, any POS systems. You can also connect with your payroll. I work a lot with Gusto. You can connect with them. I think Paychex has an app. You can connect with them. If you are tracking inventory with like Square, you can connect that information over. So I'm going to use Square as an example because a lot of people use Square. If you connect your QuickBooks to Square, then all of your transactions in Square come over into QuickBooks, and depending on which way you connect it, you can either have it just be a total daily sales, or you can have each individual transaction come over. So you don't have to manually enter your sales into QuickBooks, manually enter your deposits. They get entered in from Square, and then if you have your bank account set up in QuickBooks, They just match the deposit in your bank to the deposit that Square says there was. You match them, and it makes it very easy, and it's like 10 less steps than you have to do every day to be able to connect those. So they are adding more every day, but pretty much if you have a cloud-based POS system, payroll system, inventory system, you can most likely connect it to QuickBooks. It's part of the reason why a lot of people are switching from desktop to QuickBooks Online, so that they can connect their POS systems and connect their bank accounts and just make less work for themselves, which everyone would like.
Is the connectivity good? Do like most people you see all the apps work well together? Is there like any apps that maybe you might stay away from?
So it depends, and I'm gonna just keep using Square as an example. There are like 4 or 5 different ways that you connect your Square. One of them is free, and is just gives you like connects basically the deposit amount, but you can't get much detail from Square into QuickBooks. There's one then that's like $10 a month, and it gives you a lot more detail. You can connect your inventory. And so a lot of the software, there are kind of different levels of connection, I guess you would call it. And so it kind of depends what information you want to come over. And if actually I am going to stop sharing for a moment. I'm going to go into the App Center on mine. Okay, again, this is going to show up a little bit different in yours because mine's the accountant version. But when you get into the apps, you'd have like an apps on the left-hand menu. You click on that, and this is what you come to. And so I'm going to pull up Square. So you can see when I pull up Square, there's a bunch of different ones. There's a few main ones though. I'm going to go to this Square by Commerce. So you can see this one is the best one that I've seen. You can see it has like 4.5 stars. And so they'll go over a little video that tells you what it does, how it connects. This is the one that's $10 a month. So it tells you how much it is, gives you reviews, all of that stuff. If you decide you want it, you click learn more. We'll tell you more about it, and then you can connect from here. Sometimes instead of learn more, it'll say connect here on that button, but they're really good about walking you through, and you just connect using your username and password for your Square site. But all the apps that I've worked with on here are really good about walking you through all of the steps, and they all seem to have little videos that tell you exactly what the app will do and how the connection works. So that's go back. So you can see, you can see some of the top one, T-sheets for time tracking. There's a lot of them on here now.
I see Expensify, which is something that we use all the time. And so are there any glitches that when you connect Expensify to QuickBooks? Because I know that sometimes the categories are like you have to select a specific category. Are there any categories that don't sync up well between the two?
I mean, I think with all the apps I've dealt with, there are glitches here and there. And I think QuickBooks is always trying to make them better. But sometimes when QuickBooks does updates, then it kind of messes up some of these connections. I've seen it do it with Square sometimes, Expensify sometimes. You'll have to kind of reconnect and link up different categories and that kind of stuff. And so because they're ever evolving and ever changing, you do get those glitches. You do get times when things aren't connecting right. But I mean, I think like 95% of the time they seem to work without a problem. But it's, you know, it's just ever changing. I think especially since COVID hit and everyone has gone online, they've been working really quickly with a lot of stuff, which doesn't always mean that it's smoothly. So I have noticed more glitches in the banking connection, in the app connection over the last like 6 months or so, just because they're trying to keep up with the demand and keep up with everyone's needs and trying to make everything as good as possible, which is great, but it does cause some glitches here and there.
Have you worked with anyone who is maybe international in the traded sector that uses QuickBooks and is dealing with like different currencies? Is there a nice currency converter?
I have not dealt with anyone, but I have done a few trainings, and I believe both the Plus, I know the Advanced for sure, but I think the Plus does currency conversion, and they deal with different currencies. And I don't have personal experience. I have heard it works well, but I have not dealt with anyone.
Cool. Does anyone else have any more questions? Well, if
I'll go ahead and
go for
ask
it.
one. Sarah, if someone's starting QuickBooks Online, what do you think like the biggest piece of advice you tell somebody just when they're getting started, so they don't ever mess up any of their accounts, just keep everything straightforward? What would be like the biggest piece of advice you'd give somebody?
I would say either find someone who like does training in QuickBooks, or watch training videos of QuickBooks before you get started. The next session we will do, which is the banking center, that is where the most people seem to like struggle and make the most mistakes, like totally unintentional. QuickBooks tries to kind of think for you, but it can mess things up for you also. So I would say before you get started, just set up a session, maybe like a friend who has been using it for 10 years and has a lot of knowledge, or someone online, or just find someone who knows QuickBooks Online and just see if you can get like a quick training, a basic training of some of the basics. Definitely the banking center is the one that I see the most people struggle with and make the most errors in. So just ask for help. Start off asking for help.
And the blog you listed in the chat earlier, would that be a good place to go as well?
Yeah, and QuickBooks, in Intuit, their website, they have a lot of training videos. They do a lot of help. I do hear that, especially, like I said, last 6 months or so, a lot of people, there's a wait time to actually talk to a person with QuickBooks or get help with QuickBooks. But they do have some training videos online. YouTube has a ton of training videos on there. I think a lot of people over the last 6-9 months now have done a lot more videos. There's a lot more content available online to help.
I'm just going to put in the chat main kind of a YouTube spot where there's several QuickBooks tutorials. You can actually subscribe to the QuickBooks channel on YouTube. So this would be where you would go to do that. And Sarah, are you comfortable with folks reaching out to you at all?
Yeah, definitely. And I have a few YouTube videos up, kind of basic, and they're going to be the same things that we're going to cover in this class. So if you take all these sessions, you won't learn anything new on my QuickBooks or on my YouTube. But yes, I'm happy to help. I do one-on-one trainings, group sessions, or if you just have a quick couple questions, feel free to email me and I can help.
I'm going to put your email in the chat. And again, this will be recorded, and I'm happy to send it out to all of you. If you all registered through Eventbrite, then I will send this through the registration. If you didn't register through Eventbrite, then just make sure that you reach out to me, and I will get you a copy of today's session. The rest of the sessions are going to be, let me find my, I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen so you can see. This is the actual Eventbrite page. So today's we did. The next one, like Sarah said, it'll be over the banking center, and that will be on the 9th of December at 10 a.m. The third session will be the customer center and AR. That will be on the 17th of December. And then we're going to take a little bit of a break because of the holidays. I didn't plan it that way, but it kind of happened. So we will be coming back again in January on the 13th at 10 a.m. And then again in January on the 20th will be the final session. So I hope you can all join for the rest of them, because you'll get a very comprehensive view on how to use the QuickBooks Online program. And I will put the Eventbrite link in the chat as well, so you can register for as many or as few of those as you like. Any other questions? Are we good? Everybody having an okay December so far? Kind of crazy. Who is in a county that is in the extreme category of snow? Anybody?
Grant.
Yes, we are. And I am very sorry if any of you are in the food and beverage industry, and actually any industry, because you're hit very hard. So one of the things that I personally noticed with COVID and everything happening and all of the grant programs is that people's books are a little bit messy, and I really wanted to have some sort of a training to just help folks be able to get their books really cleaned up. Sarah is awesome at what she does, and it really helps when you have a global pandemic, which hopefully we never have again, but it helps to be able to get that snapshot of profit and loss statements of where you are in your business journey. And it helps the folks who are making determinations on finances, whether you're trying to get financing or whether you've already gotten financing or whether it's a grant or whatever. The more comprehensive of a snapshot you have of your business, the better off you're going to be. So I'm super excited about these trainings, because I personally use QuickBooks and I could use as many refreshers as possible. So this is really great. And if there's nothing else, I mean, you're all welcome to unmute yourself. I'll hang out here for however long you need, but you're welcome to go. And I will actually stop recording. So